That's a good beer. Next concert of the Rochester Symphony Orchestra and Chorale really starts with a chorale. It's on March 12th and 13th coming up at Lourdes High School. Great place to hear a concert. And the idea came out of the chorale and Pat Anderson, the director, that we should do the two greatest Glorias ever written. Gloria in excelsis Deo, glory to God in the highest and on earth peace. We start with Vivaldi. 300 years ago, Antonio Vivaldi became a priest. His family gave him to the church, but he was rather a sickly fellow, had asthma, and he couldn't take care of the parish priest duties, so they made him a teacher of music in an orphanage for girls in Venice. And he was brilliant at that, had an orchestra there, wrote concertos for the kids, all that was fantastic. But every once in a while he'd write a piece of church music, and this piece, Gloria in excelsis Deo, was lost for 200 years. It wasn't found until the middle of the 20th century, and people were wondering, hey, is this any good? What's it about? And it was first performed exactly 60 years ago, 1956, and people loved it. It's his greatest choral piece ever, and we're going to do it with soloists from our own chorale. It's going to be great fun. So, at the beginning of the 20th century, there was a young composer named Francis Poulenc in Paris who was an iconoclast. He didn't like any music that was written before. He wanted to write music in a new, modern, kind of bitter, nasty way. But fortunately, with age, he mellowed. By the time he was getting into his 60s, he was a little more pious, a little more thoughtful, a little more embracing, and his music is absolutely lovely. He wrote his Gloria at the invitation of Sergei Koussevitzky, a legendary conductor of the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and it was premiered in Boston on January 20th, 1961, the day Boston's favorite son, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, became the President of the United States. Well, now, we have these two wonderful Glorias in the middle. What do we put before it and after it? So I thought Gloria, Gloria, and then I thought Gloriana. Gloriana is an opera created by Benjamin Britten in 1952 for the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, who now has reigned longer in Great Britain than any other monarch. But in 1952, on February 6th, her dad died, King George of the King's Speech stutter, and she became queen, but the coronation wasn't held for 16 months until June of 1953, and during that time, Britain wrote this wonderful opera dedicating it to her. It's about the first Queen Elizabeth from some 400 years ago, but and it didn't work as an opera. It kind of died. But in the middle of it, there's a set of dances for orchestra that they danced at the ball for the Queen, and they're wonderful. They're from that period in feel, but with a modern orchestra. It's an exciting, energetic way to start a concert. That's where we're going to start. But then, how are we going to end? We couldn't figure it out. Thought of this period, this composer, that composer. Can't figure it out at all. If you can't find a piece that exists to end your concert, create a new piece. We call it the composer we love most, Garth Neustadter. Garth is going to turn 30 this year. He's a young guy, but when he was 24, he became the youngest composer in history to win an Emmy Award for the best score on TV that year. And Garth is from Wisconsin. Now lives in Hollywood, of course, writing film music, but he said, I would love to write a piece for your concert. He's calling it Toward Glory. What's it sound like? I have no idea. Nobody has any idea except Garth. The only place it's been heard is inside his head, and so he's creating it now. Now, if he's like Mozart, the ink will still be wet on the parts when they get here, but I think he's writing it on computer with a printer. So maybe there'll be some spilled toner, but other than that, we'll get Garth's piece fresh. It'll be the first time anybody has ever heard it when we do it on March 12th and 13th at Lourdes High School. I'll be there having a great time with Gloria. I hope you will too. Cheers. Vivaldi getting dedicated. I didn't go into the reason he was dedicated. There was an earthquake the day he was born, and they think his parents said, take away this earthquake and we'll give our son to the church.